Every decision made about you and your opportunities is made in a room that you're not in, which then begs three simple questions. One, are you part of the consideration set? Do they even know you exist? So if they don't know you exist, how do you get in there? Two, what are they saying about you in that room? And is it serving you? You are already known for something. You already have a personal professional brand. The question is it helping you move towards your goal? Is it helping you, like Cinderella and the fairy godmother, get to the ball? Are you actually selling the thing that the other side of the equation wants to buy? All of these are questions that we're going to cover today in the conversation about the future you and more, because boy, do I have a lot to say. Plus, today's show includes one of my famous transformations. It was an interesting experience this week, so you should tune in, subscribe, and listen. I look forward to seeing you there. Welcome. I am Joanna, your potentialist and fairy godmother. Thank you all for coming, and welcome back to those of you that have been to the show before. It is great to see you again. And for those of you tuning in on YouTube post-show, y'all should join in the future. It's fun doing this in person, but you can always watch these shows on YouTube. If you are watching there, make sure you click down below to subscribe and get updates on when we're posting new shows, because we do this every week because it is super fun. Okay, for those of you that are here, just as a reminder, we do have a learning guide for the show. This is the first time we're doing this. Super excited. As always, I don't like to do things the normal people way. And so the learning guide not only has some questions for you to ask that go along with this show, but also some challenges for you. And if you complete the challenges, we will come in and amplify, because I'm all about rewarding action. So download the learning guide. I know Kelly, wave to everybody, Kelly, who's right
Hello,
here,
hello.
is going to be dropping a link to where to find information about that in the chat. Feel free to ask her questions there as you go through, because she is all prepared to do that. She'll also be dropping other resources as we cover that going through the show today. So Kelly is a great resource for questions. Talking of questions, just a reminder, we will have the content in the show and the ideas and what you need to do throughout this. If you are still sticking around at the end of that, you will be thrown in the pot to be eligible for a free 30-minute one-on-one session. I know Tirtha had hers with me last night. I gave her some very strong feedback. It was super fun. She won last week. We're going to see who wins this week. Then we'll be going to be talking about next week. And then we will stop the recording and open this up to what I like to call Cinderella time, because as your fairy godmother, what magic do you need to have happen? So if you have questions or you want to get my feedback on something, we use some of the time at the end before the top of the hour to do that too. So it's all about showing up and doing stuff. So just a reminder there. Also, because this is our monthly Future You show, which I know some of you has been to, we will be doing one of my famous demonstration transformations today. Much excitement here. And so if you want to volunteer for that opportunity, I would start thinking about it now. For those of you that haven't seen what I am talking about, let me just say, it's a little scary, but people do benefit from volunteering, because it's a way to get into my brain specifically for you. So be prepared for doing that. Okay, so why am I talking about this whole concept of the future you and why it is important? Well, first of all, because I want all of you to remember that you are the CEO and founder of You Incorporated. You are your own business. You decide how much you are going to get paid. You decide how much you want to work. You decide how to invest in product development, all of these things. And this idea of you are the CEO and founder of Future You Incorporated is actually been in place for a really long time. And we have all been buying and selling our time and our skills and our ability to do things to each other for years. It's just we haven't really been talking about it. And I think it's time we started talking about it, especially in this fast-paced, modern, multi-dimensional, tech-enabled world. And especially after the year and the continued year we will keep having, understanding how to clearly articulate your values so that people can buy the future you not only means that you can do work that is really important to you and provides value, but also people so that people can choose you and you can get paid for it, because that's what we all wanted the other day. And I start with this very simple idea that you are the product that you are selling. And that product is made up of three key things. One, your time in the future. Two, your ideas in the future. And three, your ability to collaborate in the future. For anybody who's a hiring manager, those are the three things. Anybody who's hiring somebody, anybody who's promoting somebody, these are the three things that they are purchasing from you: your time, your ideas, and your ability to play nicely. And when you think about that and break it down a little bit, you're also talking about a combination of your skills. So what do you know? What have you gotten really good at doing? Your style. So what are your behaviors and your personality and how you do it? And then your potential, which is what is your possibility? Where can you color outside the lines? How do you bring your inventor mindset to the table? All of those sorts of things. And I am done with the idea that we are just our skills and our past, because we are so much more than that. You are so much more than just your resume. You are so much more than just your certifications, because your personality and how you think is included in here. And ultimately, every decision made about you is made in a room that you're not in. What they're choosing is your potential. So if you're here, I'm hoping it's because you're like, hold on a second. I agree with all of that. I need to get really good at helping other people understand my potential and why it is awesome, so that I can manifest my potential and do all of the things, because this is what actually drives work. And I have no doubt that in your career at some point, you have had a job where it is absolutely manifesting your potential, and people know that that's what you're doing and they value for it. And in those moments, that's when work feels amazing for both you as the owner of the product of you and for the people purchasing you, whether they are paying you or not. Because what I mean by that is this could be volunteer work. This could also be your hiring manager paying you for a paycheck. This can also be your colleagues and your teammates. Because when your team get why your potential is uniquely awesome and how to tap into that, and you know everybody else's, well, then really the magic things start to happen. And that's where you can build really brilliant ideas. So that is the core idea I'm going to share with you. And I'm going to ask you a bunch of questions to help you think through this. Again, we've got the learning guide that actually helps you with this and actually gives you some challenges. But here are some questions that I always ask people when I'm talking to them about how do they start exploring the future you. Interesting, I literally just did this with an executive about 30 minutes ago because we were having a conversation about this. So question number one, what are you known for? Do you have clarity around, well, what is the product? Do you have confidence in what that product is? Because without clarity and confidence, A, how is somebody going to understand what it is you do? And then B, if you don't believe in it, then why are you expecting other people to do this? So the question I ask people in this area of what are you known for is not only what is it you're known for, like what is the product that people are buying today, but in a bigger way, are you selling a product that people are buying. And so often I hear people say, but I'm all of these skills, I'm all of these features, I'm all of this stuff. And I'm like, the buyer doesn't want to buy that, or the buyer doesn't value that. And are you thinking, like, are you selling what the hiring manager or the decision maker in many cases is actually wanting to buy? Now, of course, on the flip side, the same thing happens. If you have got lots of things that you can sell about yourself, are you actually offering up the thing that you want to sell? And so often people are hired to do work that they don't really want to do because they just need a job or whatever their reason is. Sometimes you have to do it. Sometimes you don't want to do it. And so are you packaging up the product of you to create the products that you actually want to offer? While also understanding what people want to purchase. And that starts with this question of what are you known for? What are people buying today? Because that's the product that exists today. So then my second question, my favorite one, is now you've kind of got an idea around what is the clarity of the product. Here's the other thing that's beautiful and amazing and magical about this work is we are not like a pen or a pair of shoes. We are not a static product that doesn't change over time. What's amazing about human beings is we have ambition. We like to grow and change. We like to play a bigger game. We like to have more impact. My belief is that work is amazing when both what you do is being recognized for its value, so that what are you known for is clear, but also two, you're ambitious and excited and curious about what it is you're going to do. And it's finding the balance between value and curiosity that allows you to really manifest a role where you're like, this is not only am I being valued, but I'm also getting to learn new things and grow and change, which means you need to start with the question that you see on the screen of what is your ball? Now, what I mean by that, because you're like, why aren't you just asking, what are you ambitious for? Well, I think ambition gets into a whole can of worms around ego and what are you allowed to be ambitious for and all of that sort of stuff. And this is where I come back to my Cinderella story. Cinderella just wanted to go to the ball. While she was ambitious to live happily ever after, her first step was to get to the ball. And then maybe she'd get to boogie with somebody nice. Bonus points, the prince. And that was her path forward. So really understanding like what is the first step in getting you towards the future that you want and being clear about that so that when characters showed up, the fairy godmother, even the stepsister, understanding what it is she wanted and being able to articulate that helped her move forward. And I will say, well, yes, when she showed up with the fairy godmother was able to go, yes, ball, we need a carriage, we need a gown, we need all of the things to get you there. She also had the engagement with the stepmother, who was, no, you are not getting this. You are not going there. We are not going to make this happen. What Cinderella was selling is not what the stepmother was buying, for a whole mess of reasons that I will not get into. But I want you to pay attention to this, because when you are marketing yourself to hiring managers, to colleagues, to anybody, if they give you what I call the stepmother response, it's not necessarily because you are a broken person or you are not great at what you do. It's just that they don't want to buy that. The stepmother wanted to buy that for her stepdaughters. No, for her real daughters, not her stepdaughter. I want you to think about that, because I have no doubt you have all in your career at some point, I know I have, been really freaking good at what you do and had a decision maker who didn't want to buy you for who you are and what you're all about. And it is not a character flaw. It is just a different buying state. So what is your goal and how do you think about that? Okay, moving forward, because I got a lot of these. Next question is, what is it you are teaching people about the future you? Super important to think about, because in this world, lots of people are like, Joanna, do you do personal branding work? And I go, kinda, because the problem is you already have a personal brand. I have no doubt, God, I've said that a bunch of times. I have no doubt that if I went out and asked 5 people that have worked with you professionally what it is you're known for, what you're really good at doing, what they would hire you for in the future, they would have an opinion and they would tell me. When you go through the executive experience with me, I actually do that work for you. I go out and talk to your personal board of directors and I go, what are your ambitions for them? Where do you think there's potential? What do you think they can do? I really get a bead, an idea on what is the brand of you already and what are people saying about you in the room that you're not in a way that makes them feel comfortable in sharing, because they're all actually fans of you, but they all have an opinion. And so I come back to the same idea, and I'm going to talk about an example I actually had this week. I was working with an executive who we were going through this process, and we went through what I call the market research portion of the product of you. And what we established is what she is known for and what she wants to be known for are 2 different things. And what she's known for absolutely served who she was up until this point. But she had tapped out on that and she wanted to be known for something different. And am I talking about a complete brand transformation where like I was known for being an ad technology executive 5 years ago? I kind of hope I'm not totally known for that anymore. That was a big transformation. She needed to just do a tiny bit of a transformation because about 30% of what she was known for was actually more on the executional rather than the strategic and vision area. And for her role and her level, she needed to be talking about her vision more rather than how she got things done. You've all heard me say, if you're known as a get shit done girl, you will be given shit to do. And if you are ambitious in leadership and in senior executive roles, you need to start talking about your vision as much as the tactics, because that is what people are buying. So really coming back to this question of, are you teaching people who you are and what you're all about? And what she had been doing was teaching people about the her that already existed. She was actually reinforcing her brand because of who she was and what she was all about. And so our work took it and said, okay, how do we need to shift the teach? And I'm actually going to go back and reteach her network, who she is and what she's all about. But you can do this too. I've done this. I know lots of people have done this. You can absolutely reteach people who you are and what you're all about. And if you do that consistently over time, you can absolutely make that happen, because you all know people who have dramatically pivoted their careers and pivoted their careers in their 20s, their 30s, their 40s, their 50s, even the way up to their 80s. One of my favorite ones I learned about recently is the columnist E. Jean Carroll, who writes the Ask E. Jean Carroll magazine column for Elle magazine. I don't know if you've read it. It's hilarious. She is no bullshit. She started writing that 25 years ago in her 50s and has been doing it ever since, and is quite a character. You should look her up. So you can be something completely new at any age, in my opinion, and you just need to start teaching your audience who the new is and how do you think about who that person is. So do you need to do a slight shift or a big transformation? That is entirely up to you. The next question is, have you made it easy for your network to amplify you? This is the thing that I want to shift. If you haven't heard this, your resume is not the best way for teaching people who you are and what you are all about. Because what your resume does is A, it only ever talks about your past. B, it only talks about your credentials. It does not talk about your behavior and your potential. And in the promotion, getting on a project, hiring process, that is the potential and the future you is the thing that people are choosing. And what we all seem to miss is that when we're going out and asking our network to help us, we're giving them a document that talks about our past. We're actually giving them a document that validates what they already know about us, because if they're part of your network, they already have an opinion about your brand, and it doesn't actually matter what your resume says. And so you're making them do all of the work in being your marketing and sales organization. So I'm like, God, isn't it time you put a better marketing kit together for yourself and helping it make it easy for them to see and teach other people in their network who the future you is, where you can add value, et cetera, because the numbers are off the chart. For those of you that didn't hear the other day, I had a person in my network who works at a very groovy media company who put a role up and within 72 hours had over 1,300 applicants. They're probably going to interview 10. Do the math. Same thing at another SaaS tech company. They had a senior manager role. They had more than 400 applicants in 24 hours. And this is all through the resume process. You need to leverage your network to help you find the next opportunity, whether you are looking for a job or not. Because here's the other thing. If you are looking for a promotion, your boss is not the only decision maker. Your boss's boss is a decision maker. Their peers are the decision maker. And sometimes even your colleagues have influence on the decision. Don't agree with me? Think about the time when one of your peers got a promotion and you didn't. How did you feel in that scenario? Were you included? Did anybody talk to you about it? Often people don't. I think that's terrible. I think everybody should be on board on promotions. But when you knew that somebody was getting a promotion, it was earned and deserved, you were a champion, you were part of the discussion. As a many times over hiring manager and many times over promoter of people, I think it's critically important to make sure that the peer level, the up level, and the skip level are all in agreement around opportunities. And the only way that happens is when you've made it easy for people to see your potential and why you. Again, are you thinking about what it is they're buying and why, as opposed to look at all of the, like, I've been here for this many years, look at all my skills. Is all of that stuff important? 100%. 100%, because if you don't deliver the results, then none of this actually matters. But I'm assuming if you're here and on this call, you got the I deliver results fairly sorted out. This is not I'm worried about. What I want you to start talking about is your vision and your future and teaching people that. So how are you teaching people about the future you? Really important, because you're doing it every single day, whether you are intentful about it or not, because you are engaging with people every single day. Which then brings me to my tip of the week, which comes through the genius of my friend, Wendy Hogan McEwen, who is a brilliant executive out of Singapore, who came up with, well, we kind of co-produced the idea of what we're calling the reverse job description. So let me give you a little bit of a story about Wendy. She's amazing. I've known her for years. I'm a big fan. Such a brilliant thinker about digital transformation. She came to me because we were having a whole conversation about her ambition. I regularly do have this with her. And she said, wow, I saw a job description out there the other day. She's actually, everybody's in the market, right? But she said, it just really described who I am and what I'm all about in a really perfect way. And I was like, well, you're going to apply for the job. Long story short, no. However, I said, what a brilliant marketing tool. Why don't you take this job description and de-Legoify it, which is the brand that was on there, like take the brand of the company out of it and actually use this as a tool to explain to your audience the kind of opportunity that you are looking for. Imagine one of your peers came to you and said, look, this is the job description of the job I would be the very best for. If you see a job that looks like this, then here you go. Infinitely easier than here's my resume. If you see something that fits me, can you help me? You're making them do all the work in the second scenario. In the first scenario, you're not. Plus, imagine somebody forwards you a job. Like, I'm going to put yourself in my shoes as a former executive. I hated writing job descriptions. Just as much as you all hate writing resumes, somebody shows up with a job description and I'm like, that usual, I'll know it when I see it. I now see that it's so much easier for me to say yes to the future you. So much easier. So go out there and read job descriptions, reverse engineer it and make it for you and use it as part of your marketing kit. I think it's a really interesting way of making it easy for not only you to teach your network, but coming to my next question, are you helping them? Do you help them with how to say yes? Are you considering the same way we think about selling products and services and all of that good sort of thing? Are you making it easy for them to say yes to the future you? Because so often well, what kind of opportunity are you looking for? It depends. Or what kind of job are you looking for? I don't know. People can't help you when you're doing that. It's really difficult. But then on the other side of the equation, when you have found an opportunity that is right for you and right for them, are you making it clear that, yes, all of this stuff I did in the past actually looks and sounds like what you need in the future? And are you making it easy for them to see the bridge? And then, like selling any product, are you closing on the opportunity and the deal? So often I see people say, well, so what are the next steps? And just kind of leaving it up to the winds of change. You can absolutely close and negotiate on your opportunity. And are you doing all of those? So those are all of my ideas. What I now want to do is a quick demonstration. And I say demonstration, and I know lots of people are like, oh my God, Joanna, you can do it in like 3 minutes or less. Just do the 3-minute thing with me. This is a demo and I have to make a bazillion guesses. If you work with me directly, like if you're like, oh my God, I need to just have Joanna do this for me, it is a minimum of an hour engagement. We break it out. There's all sorts of stuff. Kelly's going to be dropping the transformation program in the chat if you're interested in this. It is a fairly intense, fast, and impactful experience, but specifically unique to you, specifically unique to your ball, specifically unique to who are your customers, what's the product that you want to sell, and how do we position it? Because it is always important, which is why I don't do just a 3-minute, let's do this on the side all the time. But this gives you an idea. So with all of that, which one of you lovely people want to volunteer for a transformation? Tritha, you are off the hook because we talked yesterday. I'm looking for somebody who's not done this before specifically. All right, Sandy, your hand is up. You want to take yourself off of mute? I need to get my notes so I can take them. Hi, Sandy. So
hello.
Very quick. What is your goal? What are you trying to accomplish by getting new language to describe why you are uniquely awesome?
I like to increase my pay. I have a number in mind. I know what I'm known for. I know my steps. Not sure about teaching people aside from just communicating.
Okay.
What I already know.
Can I just hold on? So this is specifically to get transformation language on how to describe the future you, rather than let's talk about how to negotiate your pay or pay equity. So thinking about are you trying to get a promotion, or are you specifically asking for for advice and guidance around how to get paid more?
The promotion I'm looking for, the role that I'm working towards,
okay,
should result in a pay increase.
Okay, let's go with the new role, because compensation is a whole conversation. There's actually a previous show where I talk about thinking about the money part of the equation. It's a much deeper conversation, but I do want to do the before and after.
Sure.
So in your, so you say what you know what you're known for.
Yes.
What do you think your boss would say is what you are known for?
The things what I'm known for.
Yeah. What is your, like, if I was to say to you, so I'm going to pretend to be your boss for just a second,
Okay.
and say,
yeah.
Hey, in reality, your boss needs to justify why you are the right person for this future role.
Yep.
What do you think? Like, if I said to you, so why are you the right person for this future role? What is your answer?
Because I'm very customer centric. That's the start. That's where I work from. But to add to that, my enthusiasm, energy, creativity, that I'm very forward thinking and innovative, those are the things that are going to push me. And the role, I'll just be open about it. It's probably easier to think about as a role, is a chief customer officer.
Okay.
And
All right.
some people may not know what that means.
Yeah, no, it's okay. Only because you're new to the Joanna world of thinking. For the audience, because you're going to play with us for just a second. You guys all heard enthusiastic, energetic, creative, etc. How many of you would say, yeah, me too? Stick your hand. Sandy, do you see how many hands went up? I think the only one
Everyone, yeah.
The only one that didn't go up was Lucy, and that's because we can't actually see her, although we can see a rainbow, which is awesome. No, I love
There
it.
she is.
It's awesome that you are enthusiastic, etc. But those are just features, and they're features that everybody has.
Okay.
And I would also suggest that anybody applying for a chief customer role is going to say that they are customer centric. What you are known for is certainly recognizable. It is not original. And
Okay.
if you are trying to get into the C-suite, the stakes are higher. They are not hiring you for your ability to get things done. They are hiring you to build a team who will drive getting things done. They're hiring you for your vision and in the future. So here's a different way of thinking about how to talk about why somebody should promote you into this. Congratulations, by the way, it's exciting. In the world of chief customer officers, what do you think is the number one thing that people should be considering? Try not to be generic here.
But it's actually about how our companies come across as a whole.
Okay.
The biggest challenge that the customers have is trying to understand who to work with what. So I work for a large company. I think that's the biggest challenge that our customers have.
And why is it hard to help them understand that?
Several reasons. There's the revolving door. So people change often. And they're different parts of their companies that are working different parts of my company.
Okay. And then why are you really good at synthesizing all of those weird things together?
I take the time to understand who does what, who's doing what right now, and what is that they're looking for.
Okay. All right. You've given me as much as I need to give you a demonstration. So what you can say, so instead of coming out and saying, I am customer centric feature, I am enthusiastic, et cetera, behavior, I want you to talk about your potential and your vision. And you could say something to the effect of the number one challenge for companies today is helping their customers understand their potential and how their products and services can actually help them. And it's challenging because one, every other company has a revolving door of people. The decision makers change over time. And two, the decision makers often speak different languages depending on where they are in the organization and care about different things, which means that actually teaching people what we do is a very multidimensional, complex question. And the only way to get an answer to what it is we need to teach them is to listen to the customer and ultimately be customer centric. And as somebody who focuses on the customer first to figure out what questions we should ask, I can then teach them how to understand what it is we have to offer. And that's the strategy I'd like to bring to the table as the new chief customer officer at fill in the blank name of your company.
Sure.
Do you hear the difference?
I do hear a difference significantly.
Okay.
But at the end of the day, you're still saying this is a customer centric. So it's,
sure. Well,
are you saying that to describe?
Yeah.
Really describe it more.
So let me break this down for everybody on how I just did that, because there's a couple of things that I was doing there. So one, I didn't start out with an I statement. And I didn't start out with an I statement because nobody wants to be sold a feature. People buy problems that need to be solved or ideas in the future. And so what I started out with is, what is the future problem that the company or organization is going to need to solve that you are going to be in charge of solving. This could be for anybody. So for those of you to think about, like, what is the problem that they're trying to solve? People do not write a job description because they need a warm body in a chair, unless you need staff at McDonald's, and that's a whole different conversation, right? For somebody who is a white collar worker in the thinking economy, they are hiring your brain and your ability to think, not anything else. And so what is the problem that you think that they need to solve, or what is the idea you have about the future that has business driving impact in the future? I also, and again, this is just a demo. One of the question I asked you for this was like, why is it hard? I then said, this is the problem. This is why this problem is hard. So you are then validating that you actually know what the heck it is you're talking about and how to think of it, to map back to what it is you said you were already known for, which is the customer centric. So I almost took the value of your product, reversed engineered it the same way we do for any product that is sold in the marketplace today, and said it needs to be a problem solution set, and you are the solution, so that when you say it, it goes, here's the problem, here's the solution, and by the way, I'm the best person at the solution. So somebody who hears it goes, I agree with that problem. I like the idea around it and the solution. I like you. And that is how somebody can recognize and articulate your potential to solve problems in the future, as opposed to coming in and saying, been there, done that. Now, again, super fast demo just to help you.
Very helpful.
No, it's okay. For everybody, this whole idea of the problem solution set, because what you also have to factor in is your language needs to be real, that people believe it. It can't be like, you can do a problem solution set that is super crazy. And yes, are there people out there who say some crazy things that you're like, really? I don't think so. If you go too far on that bar, authenticity gets wobbly. And when it comes to human buying of time, authenticity is a bar that you cannot cross. And only because we've got a lot of ladies on this call, especially for women. We are not, it is unfeminine to brag. And culturally, whether you are, like, whatever your definition, if you look and sound like a feminine person, then you are going to be expected, because most of the decision makers are not feminine persons, you're going to have to mitigate that. So you have to, the goal on this is to come right up to the line of bragging without crossing over, because nobody actually likes a braggart. Yes, there are some masculine people who are allowed to do that. You are not, as a woman, and it's unfortunate, but it is a reality. Do not get me started if you are LGBTQI, because you got a whole extra bucket of stuff, and or a person of color, because the bar is even further. And is it fair? No. But here's the path to actually bridge that gap and help them see, because it is infinitely easier for people to recognize your potential when they look like you and sound like you. And so you have to, while we are still in the shift, you have to do the job. Now, I've worked with lots and lots and lots of awesome guys who also need help in this area, because they still come out with features, and then this is not a ding against the guys. It is just a cultural stereotype that I want people to be aware of as they are thinking about this. So that's the first thing. The second thing I'm doing is, hopefully, Sandy, you feel pretty good about yourself and how awesome you are right now. Yes? Sort of, kind of? Awesome. This self-belief, self-confidence is such the juice and the power to make the machine work. Because again, if you can't believe in you, how can you expect anybody else to? Now, I get it. I absolutely have an itty bitty shitty committee in my head all the time too. She's a monster. She has a name. I call her rude things all the time. There is not a human being on the planet who doesn't have one. And if they don't have one, well, then I think there are some different issues to have to worry about. We all have this, and you have to learn to tell her or him how to go away, because nobody buys a product that the other person isn't confident about. Like, imagine when you flip the tables and you've had somebody present an idea to you. If they've come across a bit wobbly, you don't buy the product. So creating language that allows you to self-promote without turning on the inner critic is really important. And then the third piece is actually coming back to how do you make something really simple that is easy for people to remember so they can go teach somebody else. Because my guess is, although we're not going to do it today, Sandy, is that now we've done the transformation language, the people in the room, and I can see Petra nodding, kind of have an idea of why you're uniquely awesome and could tell somebody else, because everybody is your marketing and sales organization. Everybody, even your moms, are actually the ones you really have to work on rebranding, because sometimes they go a little sideways on stuff. So super important to think about this. This is where the learning guides that we have, the transformation work I do one-on-one, all of these different tools that we're offering start to allow you to think about these things. You can go onto joannabloor.com and learn more. We are launching new products and services and experiences and engagements all the time there. Again, each one of these shows is going to have a learning guide that goes along with it. They're $9.95. So you get the guide, you get the activities, and if you do the stuff, you get the application at the end of the day. And if you have not been tagged in LinkedIn and or other social media platforms by me in the past, you will be well aware that it actually gets you on people's radar very quickly, which is awesome. I love to get to do that as much as possible. So check out the workbooks and check out some of the other things that we have there. So last thing before we go into prize time, I also, because I know lots of people who watch are leaders in organizations, while today's show has been almost 100% on the future you, I do also want to remind you that as a leader in an organization, you have the power to be a fairy godmother for somebody else. And there is literally nothing more empowering, engaging, freeing for your team when you are clear about what it is you're saying about them in the room that they're not in. And coming out with generic stuff does not help them. Does not help them. Coming out with, this is how you think. This is where I have seen you really have some vision. That's the language that will help them not only build confidence in themselves so that they can step forward more for you, which is what you want them to do, but also teach others about their unique value. Because as I talked about before, when you have a team of people who understand their individual unique value and what each other's role is within a team, there's almost nothing they can't accomplish. They have the freedom and the courage and the creativity to run with all sorts of things, and they do it as a team, which is ultimately what we all want. So just a leadership tip to wrap this all up. So that is my very strong conversation this week about the future you. As you can tell, I am only just a tiny bit passionate about this idea, because I want you all to make it to your ball. I want you all to have your happily ever after. I want you all to have all the things. And that happens when you are clear, you are compelling, and you are concise about amplifying the future you. And that's what I want for everybody. So with all of that, we are going to wrap up this portion of the show. For those of you that are watching on YouTube, thank you for tuning in. Again, feel free to subscribe below and have an alert set up. We've also got links to all of the resources that we shared to the audience in the show today. So just check below. You too can download the guide that goes along with this program as well. Oh, you know what I haven't talked about before I get into prizes and free things? I am going to jump around. Sorry, Kelly. Is next week, I'm very excited this way, is why do you need a selfish squad? What is it? Why do you want one? I know I built myself one this time last year and I couldn't have done without them. I think that it's a bit like the Avengers. You got to have your team around you to help you get over the bad guys. So we're going to teach you what they are, how to recruit them, and then how to have your own selfish squad to help you manifest the future you. So just a heads up on that. So Kelly, I'm going to stop talking about all the things. Tune back in next week, Friday at noon. Who, drum roll please, is winning a 30-minute one-on-one with me?
Today, the winner is Petra Franklin.
Yay, Petra. Hooray. Well, you've nodded throughout the show, so I'm super excited for you. Ultimately, we're here to help you figure out how to teach other people who the future you is so that you can be you in the future. Because the clearer you are about who you are, what you want, and teach other people why that's awesome, the more likely you get to be you. I know, it's a bit of a circle. I'm Joanna, your potentialist and fairy godmother, and I wish you the very best. Thanks for coming.